Namaste everyone, Sirhud here on behalf of the Freeman University. I'm going to answer a question that Hitanshu asked from Delhi. The king, the warrior, the magician and the lover, how to apply them in real life. And it's surprising that probably 2 to 3 years or maybe 3 years after I made my first, let's say, video as Sirhud Kalra on the king, warrior, magician, lover, that today the question is coming. But I'm happy that these are the kind of questions that are being asked by our community now. So, if I had to speak about the archetypes, I would constantly need to refer to how do I understand what that archetype is and embody it within myself. Just to introduce to those of you who might be new, the king, the warrior, the lover and the magician, it's taken basically from this book by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette, who were some of Carl Jung's best students. And Carl Jung originally spoke about the archetypal consciousness, that as a man or a woman, there are different aspects to the masculine and the feminine that you will be embodying and expressing in your life. And knowledge of the archetypes acts as you having some idea of what would be the right way to embody and express the journey of becoming a man or a woman as you progress through life. And that basically encapsulates what an archetype is. It's like an image, it's like a role model, but a mythical one which maybe a science textbook cannot really teach you. It would be something that you need to extract from history, religion, cultural folk tales, etc. Hence, we have the mythology pillar of the Freeman ideology. Because there, we try to get into the stories that mankind has passed down eons, and those stories help us realize what it means to be a good, just, benevolent king. What it means to be a warrior who fights to defend rather than fights to conquer, invade and unnecessarily trouble other living beings. A warrior who fights to protect the truth and the civilization or people or whatever, if it comes to the physical act. A magician would be someone who can change the shape or the form of his own appearance out into the world. Nobody knows where the fuck am I or what I'm doing as I age personally, because I want that ability. And I'll speak on this later why, if you guys want me to, because I have an idea of talking about this on my own personal podcast where I express who I am. Because TFM is not who I am. TFM is something I'm trying to become like, or it's my aspiration, it's the ideal that I'm chasing. So that's what the magician is. And coming back to the lover, that what is the right way to express love and solve the moral, ethical questions that come to your mind, that okay, I have a wife who I love, but you know, the girl in my neighborhood is just like really trying to hit on me. Do I act upon that or not? And if I do, how do I do it in a way which is not wrong? Does it benefit people, etc.? Like, it just goes very deep and it starts questioning things which it's too difficult to speak on the mainstream motherfucking social media. So that's why we want to connect the people who are on the search for truth, whether ugly or beautiful, on this platform, which makes us aspire to achieve freedom in our life from even our own chains, which we might not be aware even today that we have chains which bind us. But Hitanshu's question is how to apply these in real life. Now, you need to understand that you are not just one of them as the masculine. You possess all these spirits. The spirit of the king is the spirit to be a leader. A leader does not mean that you have to be a CEO or the alpha male in your college or university. Being a leader means governance, especially starting with self-governance. Can you lead your own life, or do you need your mama to wake you up in the morning? Are you worthy of leading a family, giving birth to children, and leading where their formative years go? Are you worthy of leading a woman with her trust blind in you? You know, that here is a man that I can trust. Wherever he takes me, I'm willing to go because I believe he is a king. Regardless of whether the outside world puts a throne on top of you, your head or not, it doesn't matter. So if you have to talk about applying the archetypes in your own real life, it's obviously a very, very long discussion, and I'm more than happy to go into it. We could like build something on it in like a step-by-step method, and maybe get even somebody who's gone very deep into this knowledge who can help us on the university by coming on as an instructor. But for me, it's a little hard. As of now, like I don't know any worthy people who can come onto this platform to be an instructor in their own particular field. But I'm pretty sure there are people out there, and as my personal network grows, we will have those kind of SMEs, as we call in consulting, some subject matter experts come in and talk about all this. It's my dream, obviously. But coming back to the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, in a nutshell, you are going through this 24/7 in your life, and so are women. With the feminine, there's the warrioress, the goddess, and all that jazz. But we don't know that we are going through this. There are multiple faces that we put on in our day. Most people's lives are unfortunately not the same as their internal truth. What is on the outside is not the same. So they do put on a whole bunch of faces to combat the environment when they wake up in the morning, while all the time trying to come back to get a peaceful night's sleep. They're combating that atmosphere and environment with multiple faces. And even for someone who's living their truth, for example, or trying to be on that path where the external and the internal become as congruent as possible, you still have to embody these archetypes. And when I say you have to, it doesn't mean that you're forced to. It's just in your own good favor to do it. So, as you're going through the day, the places where you need your judgment to be heard, if it is a just judgment, is when the spirit of the king is alive within you. Such as, let's say you're having a discussion with your group of friends about where to go to eat, or where to go if you guys are planning a weekend getaway. The way a king would only take, a good king would only take an action after it is well thought out, because it involves his people, not him alone. Alone he can go into Vanvas and fuck shit up, it doesn't matter, it's all on him. As again, taking care of that, his fucking himself up doesn't lead to others getting negatively impacted. But a well thought out action plan is only executed by a king by expressing it to his people, such as you in your group of friends. that guys, I think we should go here because it matches like the preference of XYZ majority people over here, and I think it's good overall because my personal take is Tata. What do you guys say? So you're not a dictator, you're not forcing, you're leading by example. And the grounding with which you lead will make other people actually listen to you. Because if you're, I don't know if I've spoken about this, but I realized one day, looking down, in this particular housing society where I was, that there was a, place where all the kids were playing football, and I realized that boys make so much noise. You see men playing football, they won't make as much noise, So the boys are all the time shouting, down the line, hey, idhar maar, all that shit. But it is simply because they want to be heard. Because they themselves don't know if their own voice should be heard by themselves or not. So right now, almost none of us might be at the level of the king when it comes to actually embodying that archetype. We have made the first actual major upgrade to the ideology, where if you will look on the new Instagram that we launched, we are building out a structure for the ideology and explaining it in as simple words as possible, especially to the masses who actually, I want them to be aware before they get corrupted, before McDonald's reaches the villages of my country, before Starbucks makes most of the children over here obese, etc. Whatever has happened in the West is going to replicate itself over here because we unfortunately are a nation of copycats right now. And this does not go on to say that I think my entire nation is copycats, no. But the pop culture is imitation. One girl gets a tattoo over here on Instagram, all the other chicks want to do the same thing. Alright? A good Hollywood movie is there, Bollywood copies the fuck out of it without any shame. Without any shame. That is the sad part. So, in that world of imitation, where people are copying to fit in because, oh, I think this is found cool by people, they don't even know which kind of people's opinion they are taking into consideration. Those people are not even fully realized people yet. And this is not a diss at those people, this is a diss at you, from where all of this begins. You're in a boys' football field as a prince, not a king, and you're trying to get the approval of other princes. As well as when it comes to women, you're trying to get a princess, the spoiled girl. You're not really ever focusing on getting a woman who deserves you. Because right now, even you yourself don't deserve yourself, because the way after you have the knowledge and the information that this is the way the world is functioning, you can see on social media the kind of crap that is promoted. After that, if you still do the same thing, some new reel challenge has come, some bunny ear shit, and then you do the same thing, you are part of the crime of that particular aspect of humanity where individual consciousness is just dying the fuck down. You're part of it. So Hitanshu, the way the archetypes will help you is to figure out, are you one of everyone or are you one of a kind? Because you will not hear that, oh, all the kings were basically good kings. No. Over the course of history, you would have heard of only the most benevolent and just kings, the ones who made sure that them and their people and their empire flourished. And your empire begins on the inside. If this isn't flourishing, nothing on the outside will ever flourish. You might be able to make it look like it's flourishing. But as time goes on, not just you, but even people will see through the shit. So, The way the archetypes can help you out in the mythological sense, because that is where we derive them from, is similar to how the Freeman ideology is supposed to help you out as a blueprint. That this, as of now, is the collective knowledge of mankind, that these are the best known ways to carry out certain aspects of an individual's life. Because mythical stories, when they tell you about, be it, Arjuna as a warrior, be it Casanova as a lover, be it for the magician you have the shaman, the one who lives in the forest. You will never come across them in regular life, but people ultimately run to them when they need peace of mind, because they're like, what is the magic trick behind internal happiness and satisfaction? And where do they take you? They take you back to Gaia, or Jaya, or however you want to say it, but basically Mother Earth, the nature, from where you came, the soil, the same elements that make the tree, make you, make your mom, make the fucking phone which is recording this shit. So everything is interconnected, and even that is a magician's trick to make you understand. That's why I'm saying I can't go deep into this right now in a lecture. But if you guys want me to, let's say, make a course on it, let me know, because then I'll actually sit down and try to structure this. But whether you look at these mythical figures, whether they were real or not, the stories make sense and have passed down through the generations because they have lessons within them on what is right and what is wrong. And when you will try to get your ego put aside and you try to embody the spirit of the king, you will check yourself before you wreck yourself. Before you make a mistake, you will be like, you'll be trying to aspire to become someone which is not really easy to become. It's not easy to actually embody those archetypes in you. As a lover, have I ever not hurt a woman? It's just impossible. Because we all have people in Hera Fairy. I think there is a line, that Hindi Bollywood movie, which was actually nice and funny and so simple. But I think the guy said that, the ones we like don't like us, the ones who like us, we don't like them. So there are people who like you, but you don't even know you're rejecting them. You don't even know. I go to the gym, for example, there are girls who try to talk, and I yeah, good day, have fun. And I put the earphones and I start working out. That makes her feel bad. So whether it is a micro level thing like that to a bigger thing, such as actually doing something wrong against one of the women that you were with in some aspect, you as a human are bound to sin. And the archetypes are about preventing more sin from happening in your life as time goes on. Because you're trying to match yourself to these ideals. Alright? The time-tested, history-proven ideals. What is happening today? The entire world is probably the most, I call it the great divide personally. But anyway, that's a separate thing. The whole world is in a state right now where the identification between what is right and what is wrong is very divided. People are not really on a common ground. But if you will look at the individual, forget political, forget social, forget all of that, forget the group, come back to the individual. The individuals today, the ones who are trying to go further on their own path of peace and everything, you'll find more people in the West doing yoga now. You'll find more people in the West practicing meditation, arts which were there, practices which were there through ancient times in the Eastern civilizations. Alright, whether you look at Tai Chi with the flow of energy and union with, nature and all that, or you look at union. Because if there is a divide, there is no fucking union, right? So the yoga helps you unify because there is power in unification. That power is the power of truth. Only truth can unite. Nothing else can, because everything else becomes debatable and contestable. But if there are certain universal truths, coming to them will help you lead a life which is at peace with yourself and your neighbor. And if you study, like since we are talking about mythology, if you will go into the Bible and Christianity and they talk about love thy neighbor and don't do to him what you would not want to be done unto you, etc. You want to simply think about all those things through the image of the archetype. That would a just king do what I am about to do? Let's say I want to win in some game. Let's take social media. Would I buy those followers and likes and subscribers to win? Because then the numbers, like boom, that hierarchy, that environment, boom, I won. But what kind of a king can win a war with an army that he has bought? You need those people to believe in your leadership and your judgment and your ability as a king to actually fight and lay down their life for you. That is when you are the king who will be remembered through the ages, because you were leading by example and trying your best to do so. We are in the state of Maharashtra right now recording this, where Chhatrapati Shivaji has a majestic legacy because of the same thing. What about all the other Rajas who were here in Maharashtra? Maharashtra, it was called. The majestic, like the Maha, like supreme empire. And they are nice people. Maharashtrians as a people, they're very walk the line, they're very Siddha Sadha, But the state today, the state which it is in, if you will take for example the roads of the city of Pune, it shows that it's no longer a Maha state, because the leadership might not be the same as the heritage had provided. It's diluted, corrupted and diffused now. So you can see a debilitation in that empire. And you can apply such a macro story to your own micro. So I gave you the example via the pathway of the king, but I can go into the warrior, I can go into the magician, I can go into the lover and give you examples on how you want to aspire to be more like that ideal, because it will help you prevent making a lot of mistakes that others have already made. Note it down that this is a fucking mistake. Bros, don't do this. That is why we have it as a core freaking pillar. So if you want me to talk more about this and if this much made sense for you, I want to leave you right here. And you come to my comment section, be it on YouTube or on Instagram, my personal ones, or even better, go to the Freeman Instagram and drop your comments there about what you learned from this lecture. And whatever you learn from me personally as Sirhud Kalra, whether through the Sirhud Kalra podcast on Spotify or through my personal expression in different ways, that you can drop on my personal social media. But the free man is us trying to be someone which it's not easy to be, and hence we say it is only for the worthy. And with that, I think I'll take your leave. Thank you.